What's up, people? This is RGC, and I have another pickup video for this month. Um, Another Craigslist deal. Ran across some good stuff. These two did not come in the Craigslist deal, but I'll talk about those in a second. Basically, some guy was selling a N64 lot. Had some first party components, stuff like that, for sale for about 40 bucks. Controller here, like about four or five controllers. Stick is good. Another controller. Stick is somewhat loose. But it's cool to run across first party controllers, the N64 without paying $20 each. This one's beat up pretty bad. Cracked down there. Like, people didn't wash their hands when they were using this, so I need to wash my hands after I'm done doing this video. Power pack, which is roughly worth about 10-15 bucks alone. Rumble pack, still has some batteries in it. I can feel the weight. And two gray controllers. That stick is shot, but it's still a good controller. I can salvage parts out of it, and this one's okay. So, got that. Sorry about the mess here. Get this bag out of the way. And this official, and my first official N64 memory card. So that's pretty cool. So, got all of that. Guy had it for sale for, he wanted 40 bucks for it, but I wasn't gonna pay that. He was talking about how much these sell for on eBay, and I'm thinking to myself, well, you can't expect to get eBay pricing on Craigslist because it's Craigslist. Expect people to offer you less than what you put as a price on Craigslist. That's just how the game is played. Be reasonable with your pricing if you're trying to sell some stuff on Craigslist. You know, people are going to try to deduct for any kind of imperfection they see, and they may lowball you, and who knows, you may be dealing with resellers that want to lowball you. But yeah, I got a pretty good deal here. This is definitely probably worth about 50 bucks at least, but yeah, I wasn't paying 40 bucks for it. So I talked him down some, and he accepted the offer. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention this about being reasonable with pricing and Craigslist and stuff like that. Familiarize yourself with the art of negotiation. Many of the people already know they're going to get lowballed and offered less than what they really want for games and other things they have on Craigslist. So negotiate. If you have to drive quite a bit, you can use that to possibly knock off some off the price. Or there's many ways you can do it. Or you just make an offer, they may accept it. Just keep it reasonable. Example, let's just say someone local was selling this game and I really wanted it. Let's just say he wanted 30 bucks for it. And he put 30 bucks up there. I'm not going to get this game if I offer him $5. If you really want to make the deal, really don't want to piss somebody off, and want people just simply start ignoring your text or calls or emails or something like that, just simply make them an offer that's reasonable. Of course, you need to be familiar with what the game is really worth anyway, and keep in mind that some people may be basing pricing off of Amazon and eBay and stuff, which is kind of what a lot of people on Craigslist are doing now. They're just looking at the highest price game they see as soon as they type in a title on Craigslist. On eBay or Amazon. And this pricing doesn't work like that. You don't even know what they're looking at. They may not even be looking at a loose version of the game, which is loose. A lot of people don't know, have to explain it, I guess. A loose game is just the game itself. Not the manual, not the box, no inserts, nothing. Just the game. Just like for a PlayStation 1 game or 2, that's just the CD. That's loose. Anyway, a complete copy of a game is going to be worth more, and it's typically going to cost more. Anyway, about negotiation. Make a reasonable offer. Don't waste their time. You don't want them wasting yours. if somebody wanted 30 bucks for this game, and I really didn't want to spend 30 bucks on it, but I did want it, I'd offer them probably 20. Uh, just keep it reasonable. Um, you're not going to make a deal by offering somebody 30, 40, 50 bucks less than what they want. Just depending on how much it costs, I guess, really. Uh, but as far as a game that's, selling for like 20, 30, 40 bucks, something like that, you don't offer them $5. I mean, be reasonable. Don't do anything silly. And as far as meeting people on Craigslist and stuff, protect yourself. Be cautious. I don't know about really going to people's houses and going in their houses. And some people, don't trust people that want to buy. They don't want people in their houses. Okay, understandable. But if you're going to meet someone, make sure it's in a well-lit area if it's at night. Preferably, don't meet people at night. Preferably in the daytime, nice public spot, Walmart, convenience store, well-lit, or got a lot of cameras around, stuff like that, where people won't try anything. Take someone with you, let people know where you're going and why you're going to meet them and stuff like that. Leave a trail, stuff like that. Protect yourself. And these days, you got people with counterfeit money and stuff like that. If you're making a large deal, you may want to bring a counterfeit detection pin. Anyway, cash talks too. So if you got cash, you may be able to get a better deal on a game in person, just if you just make an offer or something like that, if it's reasonable. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Keep stuff reasonable. If you want to make a sell some stuff you really don't want. If you price it reasonably and you make some room to negotiate, you'll likely sell it. If you're firm on price, it may take longer to sell. Be patient. Be realistic. Don't expect top dollar on Craigslist, simply put. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that. So that was a pretty good pickup. And as far as Craigslist and eBay pricing, as I was saying, eBay, the sellers on there, they have fees and stuff that they have to pay, final value fees, listing fees, other stuff, and shipping. And sometimes you have to pay PayPal fees for that service. So, yeah, this is not eBay, so you can't expect to get eBay pricing. But that's half of the reason why eBay prices are higher. Plus, certain systems and consoles are hot right now, such as the N64 and the SNES. I don't know if this bubble is going to pop anytime soon, but these are the hot consoles that everybody wants to be nostalgic and go get their childhood games, especially the people that were in their late childhood around the release of the SNES or the N64 as well. So, yeah, the prices are still up there. Hopefully this bubble will pop. Half of the reason that these games and other stuff is going for pretty high is because there's demand for them. People want them, especially stuff that's in good condition. And the people that grew up in this day and age that, had these consoles when they were younger, I should say, they have more dispensable income. Therefore, they can afford to pay more. Back in the day, I only got 1 or 2 games a year. So, I feel very fortunate to be able to go back and collect for my favorite childhood systems and be able to get a few games for the price I would have paid for a new one back then. But you'll be surprised. Many of these games loose without the box and all that stuff are going for near what they cost when they were new. But anyway, moving on to another subject. Got my Tetris 2 box. I already have the game, but I got this box in real good condition. It does have the manual in there, and it does have the cardboard insert. I think I end up misplacing or accidentally crushing my box that I had for my cartridge, but I got another one. So this is a minty box. Already got me a plastic cover on it. Looking good. Real happy about that. And I really like the cover of this game. It's simple, but I like colors, so whatever. And got a Genesis pickup here. Got this game for $1.95. Streets of Rage for the Sega Genesis. Complete. Got the manual in there and the cart. Now you may be wondering, $2 for a complete Sega Genesis game? And then you look at the prices for the SNES complete games. Sometimes the SNES counterparts of games that were made for both consoles, of course these are 4th gen consoles here, the SNES version is sometimes 3 to 4 times the price of the Sega Genesis version. Now, like I said, this is excluding the games that were exclusives. You know, I'm not talking about Mario, not talking about Zelda or Metroid, anything like that. Just like I'm not talking about Streets of Rage on the Sega Genesis or Sonic, because those were exclusive to Sega. Just like the early ones I mentioned were exclusive to Nintendo. But one of the main reasons I believe Sega games are a whole lot cheaper and the console is simply easier and cheaper to collect for is the fact that the games came in these cases. These cases aren't as perishable as these cardboard counterparts. And many of these cardboard boxes and stuff, they were thrown out, crushed, lost, stuff like that. But many people actually kept the cases. So that's just simply less of the original cardboard boxes. And another thing too, be careful on eBay. There are people making reproduction SNES boxes and NES boxes and stuff and selling them as if they were originals. I'm all about original stuff. I only want original Nintendo products. I only want original Sega products. I don't like third-party stuff. But that's just me. I actually like having the boxes of summer games. You know, some people just care about collecting loose because it's cheaper. But I do like complete and copy versions of games. It just captures the real feel of the, you know, the SNES and NES and stuff like that. Because, you know, Sega didn't make cardboard boxes. Of course, they did on some games. Like Knuckles Chaotix for 32X. A lot of 32X titles did have cardboard boxes. Sonic and Knuckles, I believe, had a cardboard box. Sonic 3D Blast. A lot of the later Sega titles had cardboard boxes, but I guess they were getting cheap or something. But anyway, yeah, expect to pay more for SNES games, especially when they're complete in a box, because there's simply not as many cardboard original boxes around anymore. So people want complete copies and you're going to pay for them. So if you want to collect for a cheap system and have good games and not spend a lot of money, maybe you need to collect for Sega Genesis right now because it's not as expensive. As I said in the last video, if you like GameCube, you need to start collecting now. Stuff is getting harder to find. Hopefully this SNES N64 bubble will pop and stuff will go back down. Resellers are running up the price because people are paying what the resellers want. So as long as there's demand and there is supply, especially when the resellers have the games, they will run the price up. And if you continue to pay and support them, the prices will stay up. So just keep that in mind. Another topic here, a local retro game store. This is where I actually got this game for $2. I was real happy about it. They actually have 3DS Wii, 3DS for Nintendo games, the you know, the handheld, the Wii console, Xbox, and PS2 games on special. They're selling them buy two get two free, so this may be a good time to pick up some of those console games, especially for the 3DS and Wii, because you know you got the Wii U out now, and it seems like the games always get real cheap after a new one is released, and that's a good time to start collecting, because as these games become less and less prevalent, the price will go up. So just keep that in mind. And I really beat myself up over that, especially when it came to N64 and the SNES games, because these things used to be dirt cheap back in the day. And I'm talking about even Earthbound wasn't that expensive, but now it's going for like 150, 160 loose. But anyway, yeah, just keep that in mind. Don't beat yourself up for the past, but it's just something to keep in mind. So if you want to collect for a more recent or current console, you might want to start now. PlayStation 2 games are still pretty cheap. You may want to do that. PlayStation 1 games really are, especially the RPGs, that kind of stand up there. And when you take a look back at the 4th gen and 5th gen consoles, like comparing the SNES and the Sega Genesis, one of the main reasons, besides just making more games and being more popular, that the SNES was more popular than, I guess, the Sega Genesis, was SNES had really good RPGs, and they had plenty of them. Just like taking a look at the N64 in comparison to PlayStation 1. The PlayStation 1 sold more copies of games, it sold more units, more consoles, and just simply put, I'm not blaming it all on RPGs, but it had a lot to do with it. N64, roughly 300, 296, roughly around 300 North American releases. Over a third of them were sports games, which really sucks. But N64 had a really weak lineup of RPGs, while the PlayStation 1 had tons of RPGs, and quality RPGs is at that. So just keep that in mind. Just get the RPGs. They don't tend to make them in large quantities because they're not as popular. But when people go back and they want them, you'll notice the prices are pretty high. Sometimes they just do low production numbers on certain RPGs and stuff. Oops. Anyway, another pickup. Road Rash 64. Gray variant. Pretty happy to get this one. The traditional or original release card was black. This one is gray. I don't think this is really a rare one or anything, but it's pretty cool. Nice touch to the collection. So if you run across any variants, be sure to pick them up. You know how certain N64 games came in colored cards, and the later releases, some of them were just plain in gray, maybe to do with cost, or late N64 releases, some of them switched from colored cards right back to gray before they stopped producing them. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like I said earlier, Genesis, GameCube, you may want to start collecting for those if you're not into SNES or N64. I'm noticing that Sega Saturn games are kind of staying up there, especially the more popular and less common ones. Dreamcast games, not really sure what's going on with those, but who knows, they'll probably get more expensive soon. 32X, there are a few expensive 32X games. Keep in mind, many of them came in cardboard boxes too. So if you want a complete copy, you may end up paying a little bit. Even for Knuckles Chaotix, which is the main game that people think of for the 32X, because 32X wasn't really even that popular. But that game is not cheap, complete, and it's not cheap. And Sega CD, many of those games are kind of going up in price too. But anyway, just thought I'd talk about those topics and show you the pickups here. Got more to come. I think I'm going to do a gameplay video pretty soon, just to switch it up a little bit, because my channel started out as simply gameplay, not collecting or anything like that. So feel free to stay tuned. Like I said, plan on finishing up this N64 stuff this year. Move on to PlayStation 1 and 2 next year. May work on another console. I don't know. I might pick up GameCube, trying to collect for it. Not sure. But as always, feel free to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out my Instagram for other collection pieces. And have a nice day. This is Retro Gamer Central. Peace.